Hello, everyone. Welcome to Crushing Through Life podcast with my chum, Jim. How's it going, buddy?
Not bad, Robbie. What do we got here? February 16th.
Can you believe that? February 16th, episode 10.
Ooh, double digits for us.
Dude, 10th episode, double digits.
Pretty
Figured out.
cool.
Yeah, man. And you sound much better today.
Yeah, we worked on the audio just now.
Oh,
What did I cut out?
a little bit, little robot voice, but that's okay. We'll fix it in post.
Yeah, we worked on the audio for bits, much better. Good thing I didn't throw out the box like I am one to do.
There we go. We're missing that Y splitter on that headset that you just bought, the brand new gaming headset from Logitech.
Who knew? And I've been using it every week, and it was doing nothing. So, but better late than never, you know?
Absolutely, man. Thank you, Logitech. Please sponsor us.
Yeah, love you, Logitech.
All right,
Great
man.
headset.
Listen, I got a Chinese proverb for you for today's quote.
Hit me with
An
it.
ancient Chinese proverb. All right, you may have heard this one before. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Dun dun dun.
So we're going in, and I haven't heard these quotes yet. So the first, so it's fun. Like as you guys are listening to it, I'm listening to it for the first time, and I didn't know you were going to continue on with the proverb. It's like the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. My stomach just sank. I was like, oh, that's way too late. That obviously it was going to come around, but that was my first instinct. Was like, oh man, I can't, I can't. I don't have a time machine. So, but
Yeah, that was just the end of the quote.
yeah,
20
just
years ago, you're that's it. You're done.
yeah, yeah,
Basically, get off the couch, man. Do it. Do it now. Whatever you need
whatever
to
it
do.
is,
Yeah,
right?
whatever it is.
Mentally, for your career, for your personal life, health, just whatever. Yeah, just get going on it. That's it's pretty cool. I'm glad there's a second half. But yeah, I mean, I've actually a couple, maybe like 2 years ago now or a year and a half ago, started working out with a friend, and we had a trainer come over to his house, and he would say all the time, like, if I don't do stuff right now, I know this isn't the exact same, but if I don't do stuff right now, I won't do it later. So he just never puts things off, like whether it's meal prep for the next week, or even just like, I think the majority of what he said was like it's kind of chores around the house. um, he, rather than like wait to do the dishes, he just does them, but then he relaxes, right? And like, I've been one to procrastinate in my time. I think this is like a little bit deeper in terms of your long-term goals. I guess you could choose whatever you want, but him saying that actually really helped me out with not having clutter kind of in my life. You don't let it build up if you just always take care of it. That's how like I've kind of dealt with that stuff.
100%. I think most of my teenage years and maybe my early 20s, especially during college, I find that I was such a huge procrastinator. Like anything that I need to do and finish on time and study for, it's
Hmm.
like, yeah, push it to the last minute, right? 2 days before the test, 1 day before the test, cramming. And it's not a good way to live. It's not sustainable, that's for sure. Um, I think that is definitely a lesson that I've learned throughout my life now, uh, um, that you just need to like do it, start it, get it done early, right? Like you can't just leave things to your anxiety builds up to that that level where you're just like and I guess some procrastinators, I've heard some procrastinators are the best workers because they do leave things to the end and they get so much done in such little time.
Well, they have to.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't know. I don't think that's the way for me to live. I can't do
I
that anymore.
like, I'll be honest with you on that. Like, I think it's actually based off the kind of consequences of whatever it is. So,
Mm,
in the past when it was school, especially high school, like I could just get away with procrastinating. So,
mhm,
but now in life, like you can see how things snowball if you wait to, if you wait to take a class, then all of a sudden you can't just, then the next time you try to apply for one, like an extracurricular class or whatever, curricular.
mhm.
Um, and then next time you go, it's like, oh, class is full. So now it's like a year, year and a half, 2 years, maybe you don't do it when, you should have gone for it that first time you had that first instinct. Or people getting their driver's licenses and they'll do it later. Or me with my stupid wrist, and it's been bothering me for a while. I finally went and got an X-ray, but it's like, I'll just do it next week. And then what if all of a sudden then COVID happens, and it's like, well, you can't come in for 8 months, but who knows if you're sick. So it it's really, it's unpredictable, obviously. But I think in terms of how the consequences were, I was more likely, like if I really wasn't afraid of what happened, I would leave it to the last minute and then do like 60% work and get it done.
Yeah.
Like, I have no problem doing that because it never really came
Actually,
back to bite me.
right. That actually reminds me about my current place I live in. We ended up getting an email through my work, and a sister company of ours who is in real estate had a brand new building, and my wife and I were living with my parents at the time, and we weren't looking to rent again. We wanted to stay there with my parents, save some money, possibly buy a house on the road, blah 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 blah. But it ended up being a really good deal and a very very fortunate thing that we ended up being in this place. But like when that email came out, I was like, I'm not gonna check it out. I'm not gonna check it out. I don't want to rent again. And then the thought came into my head, well, maybe we should check it out. Talk to my wife about it. She was like, yeah, let's at least go see it and see what it's about. Anyway, we ended up checking out the one of the units in this building that we're currently in now. It's the unit that we're in now. And the lady, and this was like 6 to 8 months after that email came out, and the lady was like, yeah, this is the last unit.
Oh, no way. You know what? I think maybe you told me that when I came to visit you
This
guys there when you
is
first had it.
it. You either take this now
Yeah.
or it's gone. And thank
I
God
mean,
we
that's what
did.
they say, right? Like, oh, but I do believe
True,
it was the last
true.
one. But it's like, this unfortunately, guys, like if you leave here today, you will not be living in this building.
I did walk around, and there was a lot of cars and a lot of people living in the units that were existing, and this one was still kind of like at the end of the construction. And I'll admit, after we moved in, I didn't see any moving trucks, man. Like, this was truly the last one.
Well, 6 to 8 months, like you said, right, is,
Yeah.
for places like that
Hmm.
are just nuts. And especially the surrounding area. So, even what you told our group chat today about like what you did helping out like the community,
I know.
like so people want that atmosphere, and community to live in. You have a safe place, so it doesn't shock me at all. I was just joking, right? Like, it's always that thing that you hear of like, this is the last unit.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. For those that don't know, we're living in Canada, an expensive area for me at least, and I ended up finding a place that's a 3 bedroom unit, and it's a very very reasonable rent. And a lot of other places are way more expensive than what I currently have right now, so I'm very thankful to have it. But the community that we're living in just started building their very own community ice rink. So in our park just down the street from our house, um, they curved out an entire section of land in the park, and the city let us flood this section, and now we have this community ice rink. And I ended up I'm a part of this like Facebook group for this neighborhood, and they called out to arms like, we need people to help us shovel the snow. And I was like, you know what? I'm not doing anything after work. I need the exercise. I need to go outside. I'm stuck in this box. Go help the community a little bit. And I helped. I met some people, helped shovel this ice rink. So and even when we're done, like there's already kids that were coming out and skating on it. So that felt pretty good, man. Got some exercise, met some people, talked to some people in the
Mm.
neighborhood, and like it's a really good feeling to just like help the community. And then
Oh,
as I'm
people will remember that next year too. They'll be like,
yeah.
"Oh, that guy's always around. He's always helpful, super friendly." Like when they see you. I mean, it's a little tougher now in this day and age where you're like bundled up, got the
Hmm.
mask on for COVID.
Yeah,
No one knows, but they'll know who you are.
100%. Actually, when I walked back with one of the guys who lived in my building. We were chatting away, so we got closer too. So that's great. It's always nice to know somebody in the same building as you. You share problems and
Oh
things
yeah, yeah.
with what's going on in your units. But I ended up cleaning my wife's car, my car out of the snowbank, and then as I'm walking home, this poor lady was trying to like get out of her spot, and it's just her car's just covered in snow. She didn't have a shovel. She's trying to
Mm.
clear the snow with her snow brush, and like me and this other guy like ended up helping her out, shovel her car out. So by the end of the day, like when I got home, I've been shoveling for like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, that's great. Like you said, I
uh,
mean, it's good exercise, but it's kind
yeah,
of like, it's constructive chores,
yeah,
right? Where like you're meeting people, you're chatting. It's also, you're a little bit doing something healthy,
hmm,
and you're helping people out that obviously you share walls with,
yeah,
in some cases. So
100%.
pretty cool. I always think
Completely.
there's some merit to like knowing your neighbors for a security standpoint, but even just feel like you have more respect for shared space, or like noise levels or things like that. It's always, but if you don't know your neighbor and you're just blasting music and you don't you don't care, because it's sometimes it'll come around where it's like, man, I wish these people would shut up, right? Like at some point in time you're going to be the one that's trying to sleep and your neighbors are going to be doing it. But if you just message like, hey, what's up? I mean, sure, it doesn't happen too often, but
Hmm.
like, I really gotta, like, imagine if you worked like continental shifts, like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and then you're trying to go to bed by 9,
Hmm.
and your neighbors are out, doing what, like they're up till whatever because they are out of totally opposite schedule, or they work a bar shift, and it's like, it's just better, I think, to have the communication and the mutual respect for same place.
Yeah, 100%. I actually, that brings me back to the story. I don't know if I mentioned, I don't think I have in this podcast, but like when we first moved in here, we had our neighbors upstairs above us. And during the time when I was a little bit more overweight, I ended up snoring a lot. So I ended up sleeping on the couch, and my wife can sleep in the bedroom. Like we used to sleep separately. And when I was sleeping on the couch in front of the TV, uh, they were like having a party, stomping, whatever. And I'm pretty much a partier. I'm fine with the noise. I get that people want to social and gather and all that. I can usually drown it out with like a rain app or something like that on my phone, or some background fan noise and fall asleep to that. But these guys were up till like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And I think it was like at 3 o'clock, I ended up getting so frustrated, sit on the couch, and like this has been going on,
You
mind you,
just
for
let them
like
have it.
oh yeah, for like a month. Mind you, this has been going on for a month. And like it was
Okay.
like, I'm gonna tell him tomorrow, like this is it, I gotta talk to him tomorrow. And then like at 3, when it hit the 3 a.m. mark, I just stood on the couch, just like bam bam bam. I was like, I can't sleep, that's enough.
Yeah.
Right,
There's always the breaking point.
exactly, that was my breaking point, and I've never done that. I usually not want to complain about sound or whatever. As soon as I did that, the noise stopped. And then the
Was where
next
was
day,
where was
yeah,
Nico?
he was sleeping in his bedroom.
And he could sleep fine through that?
Oh yeah, actually, we watch concerts. It's kind of funny that I complain about noise from my neighbors when we watch movies and concerts on our TV room pretty loud, and
Mm,
I have a surround sound system, and he sleeps fine to that, no problem. But
yeah.
he's in his bed is in like in the back corner of the unit, so he's either a sound sleeper, or like the sound just doesn't travel into that area of the house and he
Uh,
can't hear
he's a tomorrow. That guy, he probably just lights out.
it.
That's good night.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and that's the kind of thing, right? So like, I know that you like, because you'll send me Snapchats, or maybe not anymore, but just videos of you guys listening to music and watching movies and stuff.
Hmm.
You probably do it loud, but like, if you're doing it and your neighbors are doing it, and you're cool with kind of like a mutual, just don't do it after 3. Like,
Yeah.
like you said, like, I get you want to socialize, and we don't live, it's not like your next door neighbor is miles away and you can still hear them and it's annoying. Like,
Hmm.
it does affect you in some way, but just the conversation be like, hey, I'm gonna have people over tonight, it might get loud or whatever. We'll try and keep it down maybe later. And you just be like, you know what, thanks for telling me that. Like, it,
Yeah.
you know, that it just goes a long way. Because I remember, in like university days, we'd throw parties and we'd debate on like telling the neighbors in like, this one could get wild, just to like, just to let them know now, because eventually the house gets so hot when there's 60, 70 people in there, and people spill outside, and then they're yelling and screaming, and it all of a sudden it's like it's 4:30 in the morning, and people, this is like a Wednesday night, so it goes a long way for sure if you give people the heads up.
Good old college.
Yeah, I don't know how we didn't get more noise complaints. I think I've told you before. The very first night we moved into that house, we weren't even loud. There was like 8 people over. I didn't think we were yelling or anything. Maybe the windows open. Again, there's no air conditioning. We were never going to pay for it then, so we just melted. But it was like September 1st, one of those days though where September's like 30 degrees,
Oh,
um, or like 25, and then you have a bunch of people in the house, like 20-year-olds drinking,
sweating.
sweating. So, anyways, this bylaw officer comes to the door and he's like, "Guys, this is the first day, like Frosh Week starts today, kind of thing." And he's like, "I'm gonna have to give you a ticket unless you kind of end the party now. People go home. And how many people live here?" We're like, "Everybody lives here. There's no way, right?" But everybody's here, whatever. He's like, "Okay, well, like if I have to come back here, I'm gonna give you guys a ticket. It's like 125 or something," he said. Which I think we talked about later. We were like, should we just pay this thing and be like, well,
Yes.
let's just call it what it is? So, anyways, we were like, all right, officer, we'll be back. And this guy was not in like a uniform. He was just some dude with like, a couple of pens in his pocket and like a clipboard and maybe a badge. I don't even know if it was real. So, anyways, obviously we have people again the next night, and this time it's like 20 people, and he comes back, and people have now, like I was saying, they're spilled out. They're out the backyard. So he wanders around the backyard and he goes, "Guys, what did I tell you?" Same dude. And he's like, "What did I tell you?" And again, like I can't remember, but I remember talking to him for sure. I feel like he flashed a badge, but only on the first night. The second night, it was like, "Hey Jim, some guy wants to talk to you." And like, "Who is it? Like, just tell him to come on in." And then they're like, "No, no, no, he's not allowed to come in or something." So I go to the back, same guy. He's like, "I told you, like, you can't be out here. Like, seriously, this is your final warning. Put these people back inside." So I think we brought everybody back inside. And he probably told some of them to go home, but they didn't, obviously. And it's not even late. Like, I feel like this is 10 o'clock, 10:30.
Wow, this is early.
Yeah, it's not even 11.
All right.
And we had a party at least once a week for 4 straight years after that, sometimes two, sometimes three. Never once saw that guy again, and never once got a citation, nothing. I feel like it was some guy like trying to reach out for bribes almost, where he was like, if I have to come, like,
Oh,
but he never got to that. But it felt like
interesting.
it's just so weird. Like he had nothing to really show that he was a bylaw officer. He really wasn't that old. Like I feel like if you and I wandered around a
Yeah.
college area like McMaster, Queens,
Yeah.
Western during Frosh Week with fake badges and said like, "You can pay us $25 just to cover tonight," we could just like, I mean, this is very illegal, but impersonating officers, I believe, is what the charge is. But like I felt like that's what that guy was doing, right? And it was just like he was no older than
Did you
I
ask
was.
for his badge number or something like that?
No, we just, it was kind of like, okay, sure, we'll keep it
Yeah, you
down.
don't you don't know at
Like
that
I said,
age.
we probably had another party the next night, but
Nice.
this time we were like, maybe let's keep it down. And then after that, we just never cared, never heard from him again. But yeah,
There you go.
crazy that it was like back to back. But anyways, I always think about those kind of things and how it does affect, your neighbors. And it just, when you're in the mix, you don't realize how loud you are. And
Hmm.
then someone comes over, especially sober, that comes over is like, "Why is everybody shouting? There's 6 people in this room," or like it's pretty funny.
100%. Um, and just being a good neighbor in general, like you said,
Right.
you warned your neighbors, right?
Whoa,
And
whoa, whoa. I said we thought about it. We never actually
oh,
did.
well,
So we never,
it's the thought that counts.
to be fair, the one side, the half the house there ended up being really good friends with us, and I
Yeah,
married one of them. So
there you go.
like that side we really didn't need to worry about, which was kind of helpful. So it was just the other side. Never heard a peep from them.
um, anyways, yeah. Speaking of being good neighbors, whether it's a thought or not, these guys that I knocked on the ceiling, um, I'm in the kitchen making lunch with my wife. We hear the doorbell ring. I open up the door. It's two
This is the next
guys.
next day.
This is the next day. Two guys in their 20s One guy's holding a box of donuts, like a 12. These aren't like Timbits. These are like fucking 12, a dozen pack of full donuts. All right. It's a bit of a gesture.
From Tinny's?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
And he was like, we heard the banging. I'm so sorry. I had no idea how loud we're being.
Right.
I thought these buildings were a little bit more soundproof. Here's my number. Like, call me anytime we're being loud.
See, and there you go.
And it was
That's
like, it was
exactly what I'm
amazing.
talking
It was
about, right?
like,
Yeah.
we're like, we do board game nights every like Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. Like they list off their schedule, and like I have people over, and sometimes we're up to like 3, 4 a.m. and we play Dungeons and Dragons. And I'm like,
With
okay, all
these
right,
neighbors,
yeah.
or they were saying this.
They were saying this.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever hung out with them?
No, actually, they invited me to come join. Uh, I've never played Dungeons and Dragons in my life. I feel like that's
Yeah,
something I probably would play, but I don't know if I
me
could do
neither.
3, 4 hour game. But some people play Risk, and it's like a 6 to 8 hour game. Who knows?
Oh, yeah. I've been in some battles.
You've
I've
been
been
in
in
some
some
battles. I know
wars.
you
Yeah,
have. That's why I
yeah.
mentioned it. Yeah. But yeah, like they invited me over, and I don't know. They never follow up. I never follow up or whatever. But it's like I got to tell her. So, you know.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like you said, that's a very nice gesture.
Mhm.
And if the guy said that to you about like, you don't know how loud you're being, it's so true. Like, and that's what I was saying. Like, you don't realize it when you're in the mix. Um, how loud you're being, and in a sense, like at the time, you're probably so annoyed that you really can't sleep. Um, I think it's funny, number one, that you had to leave the bed with your wife so that she could sleep, and that she apparently, like, you haven't mentioned that she could hear the noise or anything. So you were louder than they were, that you had to sleep on the couch. That to me is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but and like you guys are on the bottom, so for people don't know, Rob is on the bottom level of the complex, so like of
Right.
his. So he doesn't have to worry about that. You can be jumping up and down, like you're doing workouts. So you guys are running back and forth down the hallway.
Yes.
You're partying, like
Thank God I'm on the
whatever,
bottom floor, because I
right? So
I I actually feel for people that do live underneath people who may do home workouts, or they have multiple kids and all that. I'm
mm,
running back and forth with my kid because we're indoors, so we run back and forth down the hallway for exercise. I do
right,
jumping jacks, right? Like I do whatever. I do running in place with him. Um, you know, we scream, we're pretty loud. And like I mentioned earlier, I have a surround sound system where there's a subwoofer on the floor. So that's
mm,
not traveling downwards to someone who's below me. Um, yeah, thank God I'm on a bottom unit. So those types of things I'm pretty thankful for sure. I feel bad for those people that do suffer from other units like that may have kids, and they're pretty loud and you can hear loud music. The building that I'm in, unfortunately, the builder is not really the best in terms of material and construction material. I won't mention any names, but like I've heard from numerous people that have bought houses from them. It's kind of poor quality, and you can tell. You can tell.
I was gonna just name drop
A company.
a roofing company, just to, very familiar. We could probably guess it. I won't bother, but
Yeah.
you probably guess the one
Who
I was.
knows?
Yeah,
No
yeah. That's
guarantees.
Yeah. No, not in this case. That's for
No.
sure.
Yeah.
But I feel it on the workouts, right? Because so I work out, and I generally do it in this room. Like, there's not tons of space. I literally do it on the other side of the bed, like right here. It's just enough area where I can like do, like, I can do a full wingspan. So I'm doing, like, my app calls them Supermans. Um, but I need to do that, or like burpees, jumping jacks. Some of them are like squat jumps, like like where you squat all the way down, you jump up, and like it kind of makes the room shake. So I know that my neighbors on this wall right here, behind,
Mhm.
like directly behind me, like if the guy is also working, it's got to be pretty annoying. I mean, whatever. It's during the day. Like, let me do my workout, but I know for sure they can hear me, right? And even on top of that, like, if Jess is hanging out, she could hear it as well. So there are times where I go to the basement because I know it's just quieter. I feel like I can just be free. I'm not bothering anyone with the sounds. Like, you know, I'm landing on a yoga mat, but it definitely shakes the room, right?
Yeah.
It's not really a big room. But yeah,
Hmm.
so I feel you on that. And that's why, like, although it's annoying to have the people above you do it, for what you do, basement unit is the best one.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I lived in basement units before in the house. I wouldn't want to do it again. This is kind of like a stacked townhouse kind of feel. So we were able
Yeah,
to
you're not like
peak the yeah, we're not like in the
yeah,
ground,
yeah. You're
which
not
is
hunkered
good.
down.
Yeah. No sunlight. That's the worst.
Yeah, because like your window right there has what's the back like in your bed, like this room? Is there a window
So
right
the
there?
sun, like during the day, is on the back side of our unit. So like through our bedrooms, you can see it,
Okay.
and then and then in the evening
Okay.
time, it's in the front. So
I think yeah, so yours actually faces, if I'm not mistaken, the same way as me. We're just 45 minutes apart. And it's
yeah,
so to go back to the proverb, I mean,
yeah,
all the
yeah.
way back now. You know, you taking the leap at this property, like it's not even like it was down the street. Like you guys were in Markham. You had to drive probably how far is it from your parents' house to where you live? Like 35
Um,
minutes.
40 minutes. Yeah, 45
So
minutes.
so it's good, you know, that you got off your ass, like you said, and you
Yeah.
made something happen. Because
Hmm.
like, you know, the problem is with how little free time everyone gets now. Like you're gonna spend an hour and 20 minutes driving around, maybe come here and be like, okay, we can't afford it. It's too big. Like we don't need like the space. It's too small for us. We don't like the area. The house is crappy. Like, you know, all this stuff could have happened, but you took a chance anyways. You went for it. So,
Yeah, bit of a
um,
risk.
you know, it's like it's kind of good. Obviously, that obviously you're super happy there, right? But you know, I think just not being lazy and being like something else will come up, and then who knows, you know, who
Right,
knows?
right, 100%.
Yeah.
Um, thinking about the back to the proverb too, like I typically my main issue with that is that I don't start things that I want to start.
All right,
So
give me
there's a list of things I want to start doing.
hit me with one. What do you got right now? That's
My top one right now is starting my YouTube channel.
right.
And I haven't started it yet. Like I've registered accounts, I've registered domains and all that. I haven't written down ideas. I have all these ideas in my head. I haven't written down anything. I haven't started recording anything. I did one video as a test video, and then I realized that like I need to buy a bunch of equipment. And then after buying a bunch of equipment, I downloaded this YouTube course I'm watching, and then I stopped watching the YouTube course. I focused on other things. But like that's one thing that this goes back to last week's episode, where I want to start waking up earlier to have that time to do that thing.
Mm.
But I'm not doing it right now. And it's bothering me a lot because I bought this camera and this equipment and all these lights 3 months ago, and they've just been sitting in my room and I haven't used them yet because I just like, I feel like for me to start things, like I have a problem starting things. Like I just like things need to be a certain way for me to start them and be successful and continue doing them. Like for example, I don't know, my computer's crashing. So like I need to fix that before I even start recording because like I might
You were saying
lose.
that
Yeah,
last week, right? Where it's
yeah,
like and it bothers and you can't put it down. You just keep going on it.
yeah. I dwell on problems and I dwell on them like until that issue's fixed and resolved.
Right.
Or sometimes I'll create problems for myself to not do something that I want to do.
That
So I
is a
want to,
classic procrastination
yeah,
technique.
yeah,
You know,
huge.
you know the best time to do the dishes and vacuum? When you see people that haven't vacuumed in months, you're like, "Oh, shit, what do you really got that's going on?" Like they need like I swear that's, you know, for me, I do things because I like, "Oh, I'll just vacuum. It takes 15 minutes." But I don't want to do something else.
Hmm.
Like you know, it's like I'll do a workout after I vacuum and do the dishes and rake the leaves and, you know, do all this stuff. I feel like that's, you know, you compromise with yourself to not do the thing that you want to do.
That's exactly what's happening. So uh, starting my YouTube channel does include finishing this course I'm watching.
Great.
To finish the course, I just got to sit down and watch a video. I'm not even doing anything. I'm watching a video and learning. But I want to fix this thing in the furnace room. I want to clean the washroom. I want to fix my computer. Like I want to do all these different things that aren't necessarily stopping me from watching simple videos that are accessible anywhere. You know,
Is it do they do it in modules? Like is it
yeah, it's all module. It's like
okay.
I'm halfway through it. It's
So
all really really good information, but it's just like I haven't watched them or I stopped watching them from whatever reason. I can procrastinating watching them.
So
So
it's funny that you kind of mentioned this about the course because I'm going through something similar. When COVID happened last April, I really hadn't played poker in a long time, too seriously, anyways, and I started to get back into it now pretty heavy. But I actually got a course for the first time in my life on my own. I used to split some courses with some friends, like 20 bucks a month or something. But this was like you purchase it all at once, you have a lifetime membership, so it was actually pretty expensive. Um, I forget how many hours of content it is. It's a ton. Like it's a lot of hours. But for getting it almost, 9 months ago, I'm only through 35, 40%, when all I have to do is sit down and watch a video.
mhm,
But the problem is, like, I sit down, I have tons of energy. I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it. 10 minutes in, I'm like, ooh, I could go for a nap. Or like, I really have to turn my phone off because it brings me back to school. And I was not a, I back then it probably wasn't like super common for kids to get diagnosed with ADD or ADHD or whatever it was. Um, I feel like I have that. Like I constantly need to like fidget
mhm,
with something. Even on these these calls in the beginning, I think you told me like you're clicking a pen, and I was like, I'm not holding a pen, and then it's like, oh yeah, yeah, I am, right? So, um, I find it tough to concentrate. But like you said, I mean, it's not that hard to watch these videos. Like, and if
right,
anything, it's going to benefit my financial gains.
mhm,
For playing poker, I would be much better. So, and part of it too is I did love playing. So on Sundays, I usually play all day. When had I not played for 8 Sundays this year and just studied like watched these videos the entire time, I already would have finished the course, and then I'd have that knowledge for
yeah.
the Sundays I'm playing now. Instead, I'm playing with like a half skill set because I just want to play. So I'm really trying to be better at that. But it's kind of funny that you mentioned it because it's like it's just watching videos. I mean, I take notes and stuff to remember. I can look back a lot faster through a notebook, remember certain concepts than um, I'd have to go in, find the video online, check and be like, what did he say here? So,
Mhm.
I do try and take it pretty seriously. I feel like the notes actually keep me engaged a little bit more than just like in one ear out the other. But um, yeah, no, so I hear you on that. So, I mean, at least if you know that that's the step, that's your next step for the thing that you're leaving off your list the most, the number one that you want to finish your YouTube channel, step one is finishing this course. So, you just obviously have to put the time in. Last month for us was pretty busy. Like, I tried, I think I said at the beginning of the year, I wanted to study 3 hours of poker a week. Definitely not hitting that. Probably doing like 1.5.
Mhm.
Um, Part of it was busy January with 2 workouts and, some like so. But February, obviously, I've been much better with that, but I've had more free time.
Well, it's good to know that you're not hitting your goals too. And you shouldn't be upset about that because then you just realize, hey, this is actually not an attainable goal. Adjust the goal, right?
Mm,
You're still doing the goal,
right.
but it's just adjusted, right, to what you can achieve in your time, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we overshot things when we want to set out to do something that we can't easily uh, achieve. But we shouldn't dwell on not doing that original goal, whatever it is. Um,
Uh,
for me, it could be like, okay, so I have this YouTube course and I want to fit, and it's all modules, like we said earlier. I want to do 2 modules a week. The
right.
modules are 10-15 minutes. Okay, that's a very easily obtainable goal for me. You can
Hmm.
start, I guess, probably start that way, and then do that for a month, and then adjust, and then build some sort of momentum and steam to just, finish the course. All that information is done. Boom, start recording, start editing, all that.
It's so easy to, like, I feel like I could be, maybe it's not easy, but I feel like
Mhm.
I could be your life coach and you could be mine. So for
That's
instance,
why we started this podcast, by the way.
it
We're each
is.
other. life. You realize that both of our personalities are the exact same.
Yeah. Well, it's, so
In
like,
terms of like a work ethic, I think.
right. Yeah. And, I think a lot of our friends kind of fit the same mold. There's obviously
Right.
outliers in our, like, our core group, but, you saying that, like, I just got to do a couple modules. They're only 10, 15 minutes. So the poker ones that I'm watching, up until recently, like now I'm actually kind of deeper into the courses where they haven't sliced it up,
Mm-hmm.
where it's just like, this is the next one is 2 hours. So I have, like,
Yeah.
while I'm doing it, I write down, where the time stopped and I'll pick it up there. But before, they were doing modules of like, here's one for 5, here's one for 25, here's one for 30. Like the longest ones are 30 minutes. So I look at it and I'm like, okay, I can get that done. And where I see like the opportunity to coach you, but I don't do it to myself, is like I probably play chess on my phone now for maybe 30, 40 minutes a day, but I won't watch a video to better my own my passion on the side.
Yeah.
Like, for sure, you and I spend more than 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
In the last month, we were reading for the first time ever. I don't know if you're like, I think you did say last podcast you're gonna get a new book, or what you were
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah. I got a
Um,
new book. It is in the bedroom.
but my point of that being, like, last month we made time to read, but now we don't have 10, 15 minutes to watch
I
videos
know.
that are like literally directed to our passion and what we want to do. Like I don't have time. Too busy, on Instagram or whatever. So,
Yeah.
like, I guess saying it out loud makes me feel like, get off
Right.
your ass, and
It's just
let's
noise.
plant the tree.
It's
Let's plant
noise.
plant let's plant the tree.
Absolutely, man. 100%. And I need to do the same. I got to put the phone down. It's such a distraction. And um yeah, I just gotta get on it. Gotta get on it. Stop with the excuses. My other main thing that I used to have a major problem with, and this used to affect my mental health a lot, was I used to dwell on the past. So all these things I didn't do, when really you should take that as a lesson. I wasn't. I was like upset about it, right? Oh, I should have done this earlier. Should have got these IT certifications earlier. I could have had this position now, or I've done I'm in this career, or like whatever. You can't. It's just a waste of energy,
Well,
right?
so I think part of the that's very common, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to say, like, I don't have a philosophy degree. I have no schooling in this, but this is, so maybe it'll sound, kind of, I don't know, but I feel like it's very common to dwell on the past. I try not to do it too much. I dwell on past situations where I embarrass myself, in a public setting, or I should have done this or should have done that. I don't change too much, and or like I don't think too much of like, I really wish I had stayed in school.
Mm-hmm.
I really wish I didn't do this with this job. Like, I feel like those big life regrets I don't have because I can't change it now. But I think when you feel it and you look back, because right now is obviously the oldest you'll ever be in your life.
Yeah.
And when you look back, you're like, I could be somewhere else at this exact moment when you're thinking about it. But in 10 years from now, if you change and you watch these YouTube videos and, maybe it changes your career for the better, but it happened when you were 32,
Mm-hmm.
you're never going to think back and be like, man, I remember, actually, you probably will. You'll look back and be like, I remember I wanted something else, and then this came along. But you only think of it now because you're in this spot right now. But if it somehow gets you to your end path in 10 years from now, then it doesn't matter, right? Like, your regret kind of goes away, but you're still regretting because you just don't think you are where you should be now. I think that was a lot of gibberish, but um, did it make sense at all, or did I? I feel like I kind of had a point, and then,
No regrets.
yeah. Well, like, I guess, I don't know how to sum it up. Like, I feel like it's super common to regret something, thinking
Yes.
that you would be somewhere
A lot of
else.
people suffer from this.
But, especially like right now, in the last 2 years of your life, you're really seizing the opportunities, and you're trying not to procrastinate. You're trying to be healthier. You're trying to better yourself, your family. When 10 years ago you weren't. So, like, you can't have it both ways, where you, like, were unhealthy and inactive physically, whatever, and you just, like, you weren't ready. You weren't
Right.
ready to respect, and same with me. I was not ready, and that's, I think, what I take away from that.
it's like that maturity level, right? You reach that level of maturity, or you do respect the time,
Mhm.
especially the 75-day challenge. It's
Yeah.
like that time is so
Yeah.
precious. Time is so precious, and like wasting it on social media, even though it can be a form of entertainment. I have no problem with social media in a form of entertainment. Like people, you do need entertainment at some point. Like
Oh
we
yeah.
share funny things all together. We laugh at the things we post. It's all good value entertainment. But all that stuff, it will be there for you even when you turn the screen off. You put your phone down. You watch your videos. You pick your phone back up, and all that stuff's still waiting for you. Right? It doesn't need to be looked at instantly.
Yeah, I think
Unless you're
so.
part of a chat group and you need to be quick
So what I
browsing on the memes.
what I was gonna say was, as much as that's true, the downfall of the FOMO that we talked about
Yeah.
before, that you and I
Yeah.
both have, is you got to be the first one in there
Have to
with
be.
the meme, because when you miss 150 messages and then you post something that's gold, people are like, "What is this guy even
Oh
talking
my
about?"
God. I just thought of a great idea.
So
We should write a course. We should
uh,
write a course. WhatsApp group chat meet. How to be the top dog in your WhatsApp group chat.
that'd be amazing.
How to be the top dog in your WhatsApp group chat. I like that.
We wouldn't be able to share it with anybody. I don't want any competition besides you in the group. But it's one of those things that, like, we message each other separately afterwards. It's like, dude, you're killing me today or whatever. And
Yeah. 100%.
yeah.
All right, buddy. Well, we should call it, I think.
10 in the books. 10 of the books, Robbie. So good for us.
10 in the
We
books. That's amazing.
really good.
Obviously, we're doing something. I feel like we're getting better every episode. Do you know our first episode? I think it's like I think it was like 10 minutes.
Well, I think we hadn't really fully made up our mind, right? So
Yeah, for sure.
on the direction, and now, it just seems so more natural to not, like, we're not trying to do a quick, like, mile sprint. Let's just let the chips fall where they may. Say some
Let's
stupid gibberish bullshit that I was rambling on about. Maybe we'll cut that out.
that's staying in. All right,
Yeah.
buddy.
All
Have a
right,
good
man.
one. We'll talk
Yep.
to you next week.
All right. See you then.
Take care. Bye bye.